Why did you pick Bowling Green?
It was a pretty easy decision for me. I think the biggest issue, the biggest reason why is I always knew that I wanted to work in sports, and with Bowling Green having all four sports at the Division I level, it gave me options so I could do basketball, baseball, football, hockey, whatever the case may be. And then it was also close to home. It was about an hour and a half ish from Detroit, so I could be on my own for a bit and get that independence. For me, it was the perfect option. I mean, Bowling Green kept coming up at the top of all of my lists and what I was looking for.
Okay, so were you a huge hockey fan before you came to Bowling Green, or did you become a hockey fan once you got here?
Yeah, I was a big hockey fan growing up in Detroit. Obviously, with Detroit being hockey town, you have no choice but to be a hockey fan. You're kind of ingrained into being a hockey fan at an early age. So Bowling Green was the first time that I'd ever been to. It was actually my second ever live hockey game, my freshman year. But it wasn't until the third grade, fourth grade that I really got into the sport. And you mentioned it. I watched an Edmonton Oilers game against the Wings, and they had Mike Greer, George LaRocque on the team, and for me it was huge to see two black faces and people who looked like me playing the sport, and that's something that it told me that this game is for me. I have a place in this game. I belong in this game. So for me, that was huge to be able to see those guys playing in the NHL and playing at such a high level.
BG being a hockey school, so was that part of the draw then when you came here?
Like I said, it was part of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know anything about college hockey when I first went to Bowling Green. I just knew that Bowling Green had a hockey team, and like I said, I wanted to work in sports. So I think being able to go to a school that had all four major sports, in addition to track and softball and swimming and golf and tennis and the entire gamut of sports, it allowed me the most options of my school choices to be able to pursue a career in sports.
So it's safe to say that BG lived up to your expectations.
Oh yeah, it lived up to my expectations, and honestly, it exceeded my expectations and everything that it could have been.
And it's really it's really cool that the huge NHL connection that BG has, not only on the ice, with players who play there, but also in the booth. I mean, when you sit in the booth, you'll be the third announcer that we have in the NHL right now, with Steve Mears and of course Doc Emmerich as well. How cool is that? The BGSU has produced three current broadcasters.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I think that to me is probably one of the more underrated stats and one of the more underrated things about Bowling Green. And I tell folks about that all the time. I say, listen, the hockey program has churned out Stanley Cup champions, Hall of Famers, Olympic gold medalists, Hobie Baker winners, NHL broadcasters, NHL front office people. The number one school and the main school I think that comes up is Bowling Green, because of all the people who work in the industry, and it's not even limited to hockey. There are minor league baseball broadcasters. The Carolina Panthers in the NFL, their broadcaster is from Bowling Green. There's tons of SIDs, media relations people, marketers, ticketing. Anyone, you go to any sports front office, and I promise you there's a connection, either directly or indirectly.
Do you have, is there anybody during your time here at BG that you want to give a shout out to that helped mentor you or anything? Like a professor or anything along those lines?
Honestly, for me, I think it was everybody in the athletic department. Mike Sheehan and Jason Knavel, who are still there. Dave Meyer, who is actually at Miami now, but he was at Bowling Green for a long time. All of my SIDs that I had, Ryan Gasser and John Enright, all of them have been huge helps to me. And it was nice to be able to work, especially with John and Ryan, because we were all students together coming up and learning as we went along. So to be able to succeed and fail together, I thought that was huge for my development and ultimately I think for all of ours, because we were able to do it together.
you're breaking a lot of barriers here. And how comfortable do you feel like carrying the torch a little bit? Are you comfortable with that? Is it something you want to do, or is it something that comes with the territory?
It's something that when you're in this position and you are the first, I don't think anyone ever really sets out to be that trailblazer, but it's a responsibility that when you are in a position to help inspire people, to help develop that next wave of hockey media workers, of hockey fans, that next generation, I think that you owe a responsibility to the sport, to the culture, to them, to help move that along. And it's something that, I'm not going to lie to you, over the past few weeks, it's been a little bit of a, like, this is big. This is really, really big, and I've really started to now embrace the fact that there are people who were just like me.